Imagine waking up to the wildest headline you never thought you'd see. Kirk Frost and Jasmine Washington spotted slipping away on a vacation so secretive, even their closest friends were left guessing. Yes, the same Kirk and Jasmine whose every move has been under the microscope ever since their scandal first rocked Atlanta, are now fueling whispers of a tropical getaway that no one saw coming. Fans are shocked, insiders are buzzing, and the biggest question on everyone's mind is simple: where did they go? And what does this mean for Rasheeda? Sources claim the pair were seen boarding a late-night flight under the radar, dressed down in hoodies and caps, but still unmistakable to those who know the drama all too well. And if you think this was just a friendly trip, think again. One witness swears Kirk leaned in close, whispering something that made Jasmine laugh before pulling her bag along with his. Emotions ran high the moment this rumor surfaced, and within hours, the story exploded online. Fans took to social media, firing off posts like "Rasheeda's not gonna believe this. And after everything she's been through, this is beyond betrayal." But it doesn't stop there. Whispers say Rasheeda herself caught wind of the escape before it hit the blogs, leaving her stunned, furious, and according to one insider, ready to confront Kirk face-to-face the moment he returns. Can you picture the fallout? The family divided, friends forced to take sides, and Atlanta's reality scene set ablaze by one trip that may have just crossed the line from reckless to catastrophic. Where did Kirk and Jasmine go? What happened while they were gone? And how will Rasheeda react once the truth is out? Buckle up, because this story is about to shake everything you thought you knew. Kirk Frost had always been a man who thrived in secrecy, but this time the whispers around Atlanta were louder than ever as cameras failed to catch his next move and fans wondered where he had disappeared. Jasmine Washington wasn't far from the gossip either. She was the name that still lingered like smoke after a fire, and no matter how much time passed, her connection to Kirk continued to pull everyone back into chaos. So when rumors spread that Kirk and Jasmine had vanished together on a late-night flight, the city couldn't stop talking. The airport staff insisted they recognized him, even under the hoodie, the walk, the posture, the quiet nods. It was Kirk, no doubt, and Jasmine was right behind him, tugging a bag that looked too heavy for just a weekend trip. The destination was unknown, but the way they moved told everyone this wasn't business, it was something more personal, more dangerous. Rasheeda was the last to know, or so she thought. Insiders claimed a friend of a friend called her minutes after spotting Kirk near the boarding gate. She froze. The phone slipped from her hand, and her first reaction wasn't anger but disbelief. She had defended him countless times, swallowed tears on live television, and told fans they were stronger than the rumors. Yet now, with every detail leaking, she could feel the weight of betrayal pressing down harder than ever. Her mind spun with questions. Was he with Jasmine? Did he really sneak away without a word, or was it some elaborate misunderstanding? But deep inside she knew, when Kirk went silent it meant trouble, and this silence was louder than anything she had ever endured. Social media set fire to the news. Within hours, fans posted screenshots, grainy images of what looked like Kirk's tattoo peeking out from under his sleeve. One post read, "Kirk Frost caught slipping again, Atlanta can't save him this time." Another went viral, "Jasmine's smile says it all, Rasheeda deserves better." Emotions ran high and hashtags started trending. People chose sides. Team Rasheeda flooded the timeline with messages of support, while others couldn't resist stirring the pot, saying Rasheeda should have walked away years ago. Now the betrayal wasn't just private, it was public, raw and brutal for everyone to see behind closed doors. Rasheeda paced the floor of her boutique, staring at her phone as messages poured in. Her best friend tried to calm her down, telling her not to assume the worst, but Rasheeda's heart told her otherwise. Tears threatened to spill, but she bit them back and muttered to herself, "If this is real, if he did this again, then he's done." Fans are shocked because she rarely spoke like that. Usually she played the role of calm wife, keeping the family image intact, but this time, the wound cut too deep. This time the anger was louder than the pain. Meanwhile, Jasmine appeared unbothered. Witnesses said she laughed at the airport, leaned against Kirk, as if the world didn't exist. One woman overheard her saying, "We needed this break. It's just us now. No cameras, no drama." Kirk responded in a hushed tone, "Don't worry, I got us. We'll be back before anyone even notices." The words were simple but carried the weight of betrayal for Rasheeda, who would eventually hear about them through whispers and blogs. The family was left divided. Kirk's children heard the news from their friends at school, embarrassed, confused, and heartbroken. One of them reportedly asked their mother, "Why does Daddy keep hurting you?" Rasheeda had no answer. The silence between her and her kids was heavier than any argument she could have with Kirk. Back in Atlanta, fans camped outside the Frost family home. Reporters Tried to capture reactions, every horn that honked, every door that slammed felt like proof of the storm brewing inside. People speculated about the vacation spot, some claimed Mexico, others swore it was Jamaica, while a few insisted they were hiding on a private island. The mystery only made the story bigger. The more secretive Kirk tried to be, the more the public demanded answers. Insiders close to the couple whispered that Kirk had booked the trip weeks ago under a fake name, which fueled suspicions that this wasn't spontaneous but planned carefully behind. Rasheeda's back. Rasheeda's phone rang again. This time it was her mother's voice, trembling with concern. "Baby, come home, don't deal with this alone." Rasheeda shook her head, even though her mother couldn't see her. "I'm stronger than this," she whispered, but her chest tightened with the weight of reality. Emotions ran high as she replayed memories of Kirk's past mistakes, the late nights, the hidden calls, the excuses that always came too smooth. She had forgiven him before, but now she wondered if forgiveness had only taught him that she would never leave. The thought sent chills down her spine, and for the first time, she admitted to herself, maybe walking away was the only way to be heard. As the hours turned into days, photos began to surface. Fans claimed they saw Kirk and Jasmine walking barefoot on a beach, palm trees swaying in the background, their faces lit by sunset light. Insiders leaked that they were in the Caribbean, living in a rented villa away from prying eyes. A video clip allegedly showed Kirk laughing with Jasmine as they toasted with glasses raised. The internet erupted. "How could he betray Rasheeda like this again?" one fan commented. "Kirk needs to remember, Rasheeda built him without her, he's nothing," another wrote. "Jasmine has no shame breaking. A family apart is not a vacation goal." Rasheeda scrolled through the comments late at night, her hands trembling. She saw the support, she saw the anger, she saw the world echoing her own pain. Yet none of it filled the silence in her home. She whispered to herself, he promised me everything," and still chose. Her emotions poured out in waves as she thought about the years of loyalty, the sacrifices, the brand they built together. The betrayal wasn't just personal, it was professional. Fans boycotted Kirk's businesses, sales dropped overnight, and the Frost empire began to crack under the pressure of scandal. While all this unfolded, Kirk seemed oblivious, caught up in Jasmine's laughter and the warmth of paradise. He sent a cryptic post to his private account, just 3 words, "Freedom feels good though." It wasn't public, it leaked quickly and sent fans into a frenzy. Was he declaring his escape from Rasheeda, or was it about escaping the drama entirely? Either way, the damage was done. Atlanta was buzzing and Rasheeda's world was collapsing. Piece by piece, the family divided, friends torn, and fans demanding answers. Kirk and Jasmine's vacation was no longer a secret, it was a scandal that refused to die down. And as Rasheeda prepared herself for the confrontation of a lifetime, the question lingered. Would she forgive him again, or finally let the world see her break back in the Caribbean? The sun dipped below the horizon as Kirk and Jasmine strolled along the sand, their voices hushed, but filled with a familiarity that cut like glass when heard secondhand. Kirk's phone buzzed in his pocket, but he ignored it, choosing instead to focus on Jasmine's laughter. Insiders claimed he had already silenced calls from Atlanta, knowing Rasheeda was trying to reach him. Jasmine leaned closer and said, "You really think she's not gonna find out?" Kirk chuckled. "Lo, she already knows everything by now. The difference is this time, I don't care." Those words, once they reached Rasheeda's ears through the gossip circuit, would burn hotter than any flame, because they revealed not just betrayal but indifference. Rasheeda, on the other hand, was spiraling between heartbreak and fury at Frost headquarters. Her staff whispered nervously as she barked orders one minute and burst into tears the next. The boutique's back room became her sanctuary, where she whispered prayers for strength and rehearsed the confrontation she would have with Kirk when he returned. One friend tried to console her, saying maybe it's just business, maybe. Jasmine had to go for some reason. Rasheeda slammed her hand on the table. "No, this is not business, this is him choosing her over me again." Fans are shocked by the rawness of her words because Rasheeda rarely showed such open rage. Meanwhile, Atlanta's rumor mill churned with new layers of drama. Someone claimed Kirk and Jasmine weren't alone on the trip, that a close associate had joined them to help cover tracks. Another insisted Jasmine was flaunting a ring, not on her wedding finger but close enough to raise suspicion. Headlines screamed Jasmine showing off Kirk's gift. Rasheeda stunned. Others swore they saw Kirk and Jasmine arguing on a balcony at night, voices carrying into the warm Caribbean air. Kirk shouting, "I've given you everything." Jasmine firing back, "You've given me nothing but chaos." Emotions ran high as fans debated whether the trip was romance or disaster waiting to explode. Rasheeda's children felt the sting too. Insiders revealed that her oldest son confronted her in tears, saying, "Mom, why do you always take him back?" The question pierced through her like a knife. Because she didn't have an answer, she hugged him tightly and whispered, "I don't know, Baby, I really don't know. That moment alone shifted resolve. She began to see the cost of forgiveness, not just on herself, but on her family. The betrayal wasn't private anymore, it was generational. The family was left divided, and her silence was no longer an option. Back in paradise, Kirk sat by the pool scrolling through his phone. As Jasmine swam under the stars, comments flooded his private inbox. Some fans turned haters, calling him a coward, others old friends warning him to come home before it was too late. Kirk sighed and muttered to himself, they'll never understand. Jasmine climbed out of the water wrapped in a towel, and teased him, stop worrying about them, it's just us, right? Now Kirk smiled, but deep inside doubt flickered. He knew the storm waiting for him in Atlanta would not be easy to face, but in that moment he chose escape over responsibility. Social media didn't let him off the hook. Fans created side-by-side collages of Rasheeda crying on past episodes and Jasmine smiling on the beach. The captions were brutal. Kirk is trash trended worldwide, while another popular post read Rasheeda deserves the world, not this mess. The tension grew hotter as celebrities, even weighed in. One reality star tweeted, when men show you who they are, believe them. That single tweet was shared thousands of times, becoming a rallying cry for Rasheeda's supporters. Rasheeda couldn't escape it either. Every time she logged online, she saw strangers debating her marriage, her worth, her next move. One insider said she threw her phone across the room one night, screaming, why do they think they know me like that? Yet she knew deep down the narrative wasn't just in her hands anymore. The world had taken the story and turned it into entertainment. The pressure was suffocating, and the betrayal felt even heavier under the spotlight as days passed. New photos leaked Kirk and Jasmine riding jet skis, laughing under the sun, while Rasheeda stayed behind, battling tears. The images fueled speculation that this wasn't just a fling but a full escape, a choice Kirk made willingly. One fan wrote, he's living like he doesn't have a wife at home. Another added, Jasmine doesn't care about destroying families. This is cruel. Rasheeda sat in silence, scrolling through every comment, and finally whispered, maybe they're right, maybe I've been wrong to hold on so long. Emotions ran high as she began to consider life beyond Kirk, a thought that terrified and empowered her at the same time. The tipping point came when a video surfaced showing Kirk and Jasmine dancing at a beachside party, the crowd cheering them on while Kirk's hand lingered too long on Jasmine's waist. Fans gasped. Rasheeda supporters flooded the internet with outrage. How could he humiliate her like this? One fan wrote, this is the ultimate betrayal. Another claimed Rasheeda better pack his bags before he even gets home. Atlanta was buzzing, and the Frost name was once again dragged through mud. Kirk's secret vacation was no longer a getaway, it was a scandal that had detonated into every corner of the reality TV universe, and Rasheeda was left standing at the center of the wreckage with her pride, her marriage, and her future on the line. Rasheeda finally reached a breaking point one late night when the house was quiet and the weight of humiliation pressed harder than ever. She sat in her living room, staring at old wedding photos, her hands shaking as she whispered to herself, how many times can one woman survive this? Her phone buzzed again, another notification. Another headline, Kirk and Jasmine's paradise exposed. Rasheeda threw the phone onto the couch and muttered, enough is enough. Fans are shocked because for the first time insiders say she started calling her lawyer, not her husband. Emotions ran high as rumors spread that divorce papers were being prepared in secret, something she had never seriously considered before, but now the pain seemed unbearable. Meanwhile, in the Caribbean, Kirk's carefree facade began to crack. Jasmine noticed him growing restless, checking his phone more often than before. One evening, she confronted him, what's wrong with you? Kirk sighed, rubbing his temples, it's getting out of hand. Back home, Jasmine rolled her eyes. You knew this would happen, you knew people would talk. Kirk snapped back, yeah, but I didn't think it would blow up this fast. Their argument grew heated, Jasmine accusing him of still caring too much about Rasheeda, Kirk firing back that Jasmine didn't understand the weight of a decades-long marriage. The shouting match spilled onto the balcony, and guests at the resort whispered as the voices carried into the night. Fans speculated online that maybe the paradise wasn't so perfect after all. Atlanta insiders leaked that Rasheeda's friends rallied around her. One close friend told reporters she's stronger than she thinks, she's not gonna let this break. Her fans flooded her boutique showing support, buying products just to prove they were on her side. Hashtags like Stand with Rasheeda and Frost Saga trended for days. The family was left divided, but Rasheeda's resolve began to solidify. She wasn't the quiet, forgiving wife anymore, she was ready to fight back, and the city could feel the shift. Kirk's children grew more vocal to insiders, claimed one of them called their father directly, shouting into the phone, why do you keep embarrassing us, Kirk? allegedly stayed silent, tears forming in his eyes, but unable to explain himself. Jasmine overheard the call and muttered, "See, this is why we can't be public." Kirk snapped, "Don't you dare talk about my kids like that." Fans were shocked to learn about the tension because it revealed cracks in Kirk and Jasmine's bond as well. Even Paradise couldn't hide the fractures forming beneath the surface. Paparazzi photos fueled the fire. One set showed Kirk and Jasmine looking distant, sitting apart at a cafe, Jasmine scrolling her phone, while Kirk stared blankly ahead. Another showed Jasmine angrily walking ahead of Kirk on the beach. Insiders claimed she accused him of being too distracted with Atlanta while she wanted his focus only on her. The drama twisted again and fans debated if their trip was already collapsing. Some said Jasmine was using Kirk for fame, others insisted Kirk was trying to relive a youth he lost long ago. Whatever the truth, the scandal deepened and emotions ran high with every new leak. Rasheeda's mother stepped in once again, calling her daughter late at night, "Baby, you don't need to suffer like this anymore. You've given that man everything." Rasheeda broke down in tears, replying, "Mama, I'm tired. I can't cry like this forever." Her mother's words carried weight, and for the first time Rasheeda admitted out loud, "I deserve better." Insiders claimed those words became her mantra, and fans cheered online, posting messages like, "Finally, Rasheeda knows her worth." The narrative shifted. People no longer pitied her. They admired her strength and demanded she rise above Kirk's betrayal. As Kirk and Jasmine's vacation stretched on, fans speculated about their exact location. A leaked receipt suggested they were staying at a luxury villa in Turks and Caicos, while others swore they had spotted them in the Bahamas. Every new detail felt like salt in Rasheeda's wounds, yet strangely, it also empowered her. The more reckless Kirk became, the clearer her own path seemed. Fans are shocked because, after years of standing by him, Rasheeda was now the one holding all the power. The family was left divided, but Atlanta whispered that a storm was coming, a storm only Rasheeda could unleash. The climax of this part came when Kirk himself posted a blurry photo on his private story, palm trees behind him, Jasmine's laugh echoing in the background. The caption simply read, "Living free." Though meant for a few, it leaked instantly and went viral. One fan wrote, "He's mocking Rasheeda." Another added, "This is the coldest betrayal yet." Rasheeda saw the post through screenshots sent by friends and her face went pale. She whispered to herself, "You think you're free, but you're about to lose everything." And with that she stood tall, wiped her tears, and began planning not just a confrontation but a reckoning. Kirk and Jasmine thought they had escaped the drama, but in reality, they had ignited a firestorm that was waiting for their return. As the days dragged on, Kirk and Jasmine's so-called escape began to unravel faster than they expected. The villa that once felt like a safe haven became a cage filled with tension. Jasmine grew impatient, scrolling through gossip blogs on her phone. Every morning, "Look, Kirk, they're tearing us apart," she snapped, tossing her phone onto the bed. Kirk rubbed his face with both hands, sighing, "They've been tearing me apart for years." Jasmine glared at him, but this time it wasn't playful anger, it was frustration. It was frustration that cut deep. Fans are shocked because their smiles in leaked photos painted a picture of paradise, yet behind closed doors, emotions ran high, arguments boiled louder than the ocean waves, and every word they spoke seemed to carry the weight of secrets too heavy to keep back. In Atlanta, Rasheeda was done crying. The boutique lights stayed on late into the night as she sat surrounded by paperwork, plans, contracts, and legal documents. The whispers of divorce had now turned into action. Insiders close to her confirmed she had called her lawyer again, and this time her voice was steady, not trembling. Rasheeda told her inner circle, "I won't be humiliated again, not by him, not by her, not by anyone." Fans flooded her socials with love and encouragement. Messages like "Stay strong, Queen," and "You don't need him" trended across platforms. The family was left divided, but this time Rasheeda was building her own army of supporters louder than ever. Meanwhile, Kirk attempted to keep Jasmine calm, but his silence only fueled her fire. One night by the pool, she confronted him. "Tell me the truth, Kirk, are you going back to her?" Kirk's eyes narrowed as he muttered under his breath, "You know I can't just erase my life." Jasmine shot back, "Then why bring me here? Why pretend?" Kirk stood up, pacing, his voice rising, "Because I needed to breathe, Jasmine. Because with you, it feels like I can be free." Emotions ran high. Their shouting echoed through the villa walls as locals nearby whispered that the vacation had turned into chaos. The scandal reached new heights when a video surfaced, allegedly recorded by another guest at the resort. It showed Kirk storming out of the villa, slamming the door behind him, while Jasmine shouted, "Don't come back." Fans replayed the clip endlessly, debating whether it marked the end of their secret escape. Some claimed Kirk had finally realized he went too far, others insisted Jasmine was just as manipulative as Kirk. Insiders whispered that Kirk wandered the beach alone that night, staring at the waves and muttering, "This is all falling apart." Rasheeda, meanwhile, was preparing her own statement. Insiders claimed she was ready to sit down for an exclusive interview, one that would expose everything and finally let her tell her side. Friends urged her to stay quiet, but Rasheeda refused, saying, "I've been quiet for too long." Fans are shocked by her resolve, as it showed a side of her rarely seen before, the calm and collected exterior replaced by fire, determination, and a readiness to fight back. Atlanta was buzzing with anticipation. What would Rasheeda reveal? How much did she really know, and how would Kirk react once her words hit the airwaves? Social media turned the scandal into a battleground. Team Rasheeda against Team Jasmine. One viral post read, "Jasmine stole her man, but she never steal her crown." Another countered, "Rasheeda had her chance. Kirk deserves to be happy." Emotions ran high as celebrities added fuel to the flames. One singer tweeted, "Imagine building an empire with someone only for them to trade it for a vacation." Fling fans debated every detail, every rumor, every new leak, like detectives unraveling a crime scene. The family was left divided, but the public had chosen their sides, and the noise was deafening in the Caribbean. Kirk tried to call one of his children, but the call went straight to voicemail. He sat on the edge of the bed staring at his phone. Jasmine walked in, rolling her eyes. "Don't let them guilt you," she sneered. Kirk snapped back, "Those are my kids." Jasmine's silence filled the room before Jasmine whispered softly, "Then maybe you should have stayed with them." Kirk froze, torn between the thrill of escape and the crushing guilt of what he left behind. Fans are shocked because Kirk rarely showed vulnerability, yet insiders said tears glistened in his eyes that night as he admitted. It said, "Not as he admitted for the first time, maybe I made a mistake." Rasheeda didn't need his confession, she already felt it deep in her bones, her intuition screaming louder than ever that Kirk's betrayal was bigger than the vacation. It was a pattern, a cycle that could no longer continue. And as she looked into the mirror one night, her reflection, tired but fierce, she whispered to herself, "This ends with me." Fans are shocked by the transformation as Rasheeda shifted from victim to warrior. The city waited for the moment when these three lives would collide again, because Kirk and Jasmine couldn't hide forever, and Rasheeda was no longer the woman who would stay silent under the hot Caribbean sun. Kirk tried to shake off the unease that had begun gnawing at him, but no matter how many smiles he forced for Jasmine, no matter how many times he lifted his glass at the villa bar, he couldn't drown out the sound of Rasheeda's silence back home, silence that felt louder than any shouting match they had ever had. He told himself, this trip was about freedom, about letting go, about stepping into a world where nobody judged him. But freedom didn't feel like peace, it felt like guilt that trailed him with every step. Jasmine noticed it too. Every time his phone lit up with missed calls and he turned it face down, she would scoff, "You're never gonna be free if you keep looking back." Kirk snapped back, "I'm here, aren't I? Isn't that enough?" Jasmine folded her arms, whispering, "Maybe for now, but it won't last." Back in Atlanta, Rasheeda gathered her closest circle in her boutique. The lights dim, the mood tense. Her best friend leaned forward, asking, "What are you gonna do?" She looked at the papers spread across the table, contracts, financial statements, even the beginnings of legal drafts. "I've built too much to let him destroy it," she whispered. The group exchanged looks. Emotions ran high as one friend said, "You don't deserve this mess, not again." Rasheeda nodded, but her eyes burned with tears. "I've carried his mistakes for years, I've carried this family, but who's carrying me?" The room fell silent because no one had an answer. The family was left divided, but Rasheeda's spirit was shifting from heartbreak to strategy. Social media painted its own picture. Fans posted collages of Rasheeda smiling on red carpets beside Kirk, contrasted with the new paparazzi shots of him with Jasmine on the beach. The captions were merciless. One viral post read, "She gave him loyalty, he gave her betrayal." Another added, "Rasheeda is the definition of strength, she rise again." Atlanta was buzzing with conversations spilling into salons, barbershops, and clubs. Everyone had an opinion, some saying Rasheeda should walk away, others insisting she should fight for her empire, but no one could deny that emotions ran high and the scandal had reached beyond reality TV into a cultural storm. Meanwhile, Jasmine's mask began to slip, though she posted subtle selfies, smiling in the island sun. Insiders claimed behind the scenes she was restless, scrolling through hateful comments that flooded her accounts. One evening, she confronted Kirk again. "Do you see what they're saying about me?" Kirk shrugged, muttering, "You knew what this was." Jasmine's eyes widened. "What do you mean what this was?" Kirk looked away, his voice heavy with regret. "I don't even know anymore." The words sliced through Jasmine like a blade, because for her the trip was supposed to be proof that Kirk had chosen her, proof that their connection was real. Instead, she felt him slipping away, even as he sat inches from her back home. Rasheeda's children grew protective. One insider revealed that her youngest told her, "Mama, we don't need him. We just need you." Tears filled her eyes, but she smiled softly, holding her kids tighter than ever. Those words gave her strength. More than any lawyer or friend could give her. Fans are shocked by how her kids' voices turned into the rallying cry of her next chapter. She wasn't just fighting for herself anymore, she was fighting for them, and that realization hardened her. Resolve to steal the tabloids erupted when new footage leaked. Kirk and Jasmine at a resort party. Music blasting, drinks in hand, their bodies close as they danced. Fans replayed the clip screaming on socials. How could he humiliate Rasheeda like this again? Hashtags exploded. Team Rasheeda flooded timelines with outrage, while others mocked Kirk, calling him reckless, careless, and heartless. Kirk sat in his villa later that night scrolling through the backlash. His face pale. Jasmine smirked from across the room, saying they'll get over it. Kirk whispered, but will she? Jasmine frowned, realizing he meant Rasheeda, and in that moment, the cracks between them became too wide to ignore. Rasheeda, meanwhile, prepared for the biggest move of her life. An insider whispered that she had scheduled a meeting with producers. Not about another storyline, but about her truth. She wanted cameras to roll on her terms, she wanted her pain, her strength, her decision to be documented. Fans speculated what it meant. Was she leaving Kirk on air? Was she exposing the entire vacation scandal in one explosive reveal? Atlanta buzzed with theories while Rasheeda kept her silence, saving her words for the perfect moment. The family was left divided, the city polarized, and the suspense unbearable. Back in the Caribbean, Kirk sat alone by the shore. Watching waves crash, he whispered to himself over and over, how did it get this far? His mind replayed every mistake, every betrayal, every lie he told Rasheeda. He buried his face in his hands, knowing the man staring back at him in the reflection of the water was not the man Rasheeda had once fallen in love with. Jasmine approached, placing a hand on his shoulder, but Kirk didn't flinch. He muttered, "I can't do this forever." Jasmine froze, her eyes wide with disbelief. "What do you mean?" Kirk looked at her straight, finally admitting, "I can't keep running from the mess I made back home." Fans are shocked because it marked the first time Kirk acknowledged the weight of his choices. Emotions ran high as Jasmine stormed away, shouting, "You'll never change, you'll always crawl back to her." Kirk sat frozen, hearing the words he had tried so hard to avoid because deep down he knew Jasmine was right. Atlanta waited like a city on edge, the fans restless, the blogs salivating, and Rasheeda silent, preparing for the storm to break. Because when Kirk finally stepped off that plane, no palm tree, no sunset, no whispered secret would protect him from the reckoning that awaited back home. The night before Kirk and Jasmine were supposed to return from their so-called paradise, the atmosphere inside their villa had turned poisonous. Jasmine paced the tiled floor, her voice sharp with anger, while Kirk sat slouched on the couch, staring at the floor. "You think you can just go back to her, and everything will be fine?" she snapped. Kirk finally lifted his head, his eyes weary with regret. "It's not about going back, Jasmine, it's about facing what I left behind." Jasmine's laugh was bitter. "Facing what you left behind? You mean the woman you've been humiliating for years?" Kirk rubbed his temples, emotions ran high as his voice cracked. "I never wanted it to be like this." Jasmine's fury only grew because those words confirmed her worst fear, that even after all the whispers, the fights, and the scandal, Rasheeda still held a place in his heart. Back in Atlanta, Rasheeda's lawyer laid out the possibilities. Paperwork spread across the polished table, divorce filings, financial breakdowns, custody discussions. The lawyer spoke calmly, but Rasheeda barely heard the words. Her mind drifted to memories of her wedding, the vows whispered, the promises broken. She blinked hard, shaking off the tears, and finally spoke, "I need to protect myself and my kids." Her lawyer nodded firmly and said, "Then, let's take control." Fans are shocked to hear these details because Rasheeda had always been seen as the forgiving one. Now her determination painted a different picture. The family was left divided, but the balance of power had shifted, and Atlanta felt it in the air. Social media turned into a war zone when a fan leaked screenshots of Kirk's private story. One post showed him on the balcony, drink in hand, captioned, "Nothing lasts forever." Another shot showed Jasmine looking away from the camera with a caption, "I'll always choose me." The internet erupted with speculation. Were they breaking up? Was Kirk finally admitting his guilt? Emotions ran high as timelines filled with arguments. Some fans mocked Jasmine, saying she should have known better. Others scolded Kirk for his recklessness, while many rallied behind Rasheeda, declaring her the true winner of this twisted triangle. Inside the villa, Jasmine confronted Kirk one last time, her voice trembling. This trip was supposed to prove we're real. Kirk shook his head and replied, "Maybe." It proved the opposite. Jasmine's face hardened, her hands clenched at her sides. "So that's it, I'm just another mistake." Kirk's silence was louder than any answer he could give. She stormed into the bedroom, slamming the door while Kirk sank deeper into his seat, the tropical air thick with the sound of things falling apart. Fans are shocked by the turn of events because what began as a scandalous escape now looked like the collapse of two relationships at once. Meanwhile, Rasheeda found unexpected strength in her children's support. One evening they gathered around her in the kitchen, her oldest son saying, "Mom, we got your back no matter what." Her eyes welled with tears as she hugged them tightly, whispering, "Thank you, this is our fresh start." Insiders claimed that moment gave Rasheeda the courage to finalize her decision. She wasn't waiting for Kirk to explain. She wasn't begging for apologies, she was building a future without him. Fans flooded her socials again with love. "Stand Tall" Queen trended as her new anthem, and Atlanta buzzed with pride watching her rise from the ashes of betrayal. The villa grew quieter as Kirk realized Jasmine had pulled away. No more playful teasing, no more laughter at the pool. Instead, she sat on the edge of the bed, scrolling through her phone, not even looking at him. He whispered, "Jasmine, don't do this." She shot back, "Do what?" Kirk shook his head. "Do what you're already doing." Pulling away, Jasmine snapped, "I'm just getting ready for when you crawl back to her." Kirk flinched at her words but didn't deny them because deep inside he knew Jasmine was right. Emotions ran high as silence fell between them, both trapped in a paradise that had turned into a prison. Rasheeda meanwhile prepared for her public reckoning. She styled herself for an interview in a chic but powerful outfit, her eyes fierce, her words rehearsed. Fans are shocked by the whispers of what she planned to reveal in front of the cameras. Everything from Kirk's betrayal to Jasmine's role to her own decision about the future. The family was left divided, but Rasheeda was finally ready to let the world see her truth. As Atlanta held its breath waiting for the confrontation to explode, Kirk and Jasmine boarded their flight home, both unaware that the storm awaiting them in Atlanta would be far bigger than the one they had tried to escape. The flight back to Atlanta was quiet. Jasmine leaned against the window, refusing to look at Kirk while he sat stiff in his seat, replaying every decision that led him here. He could feel the eyes of strangers on him, whispers passing between passengers. Wasn't that Kirk Frost from Love and Hip Hop? The weight of shame pressed against his chest. Jasmine finally broke the silence, her voice cold. "What's your plan when we land?" Kirk glanced at her, his voice low. "I don't know." Jasmine scoffed, shaking her head. "You never know, do you?" Kirk's jaw tightened, but he said nothing, the silence between them louder than any argument they had on the island. Back in Atlanta, Rasheeda sat in the boutique office, her team gathered around, cameras ready to roll. This was no ordinary day, this was the day she would reclaim her story. The producer asked, "Are you sure you're ready?" She nodded firmly. "Yes, more than ever." She smoothed her outfit, looked into the mirror, and whispered to herself, "You're stronger than this." Fans are shocked to learn she had agreed to film an exclusive sit-down, not for sympathy but for power. She wanted her side heard loud and clear, and the family was left divided as even her closest friends wondered what bombs she was about to drop. As Kirk and Jasmine landed, paparazzi swarmed the airport, flashes erupted, questions flew. "Kirk, are you still with Rasheeda?" Jasmine, "Did you just destroy their marriage?" Kirk shielded his face, while Jasmine clung to her bag. Emotions ran high as security rushed them through the chaos, but not before a photo snapped Kirk's exhausted expression beside Jasmine's icy glare. The picture went viral within minutes. Atlanta was buzzing. "He looks broken. She looks proud," one fan wrote. Another added, "Rasheeda is about to win this war." Meanwhile, Rasheeda's interview began, the lights bright, the cameras rolling. She took a deep breath and spoke straight to the lens. "I've kept quiet for years, I've held my head high through every rumor, but enough is enough." Her voice shook slightly before steadying. "I gave my husband everything, loyalty, respect, love, and in return, I was given lies, betrayal and humiliation." Fans are shocked as she laid her heart bare, her words slicing through the air like truth. Too heavy to ignore. Emotions ran high as her eyes glistened, but she didn't cry. Instead, she leaned forward and declared, "I am done protecting a man who refuses to protect me." The family was left divided, but millions watching felt united behind her. At that very moment, Kirk sat in his car outside the airport, scrolling through clips of Rasheeda's interview, his hands trembling. Jasmine sneered from the passenger seat, so she finally grew a backbone. Kirk snapped, "Don't talk about her like that." Jasmine laughed bitterly, of course, still defending her. Even after all this, Kirk turned to her, eyes burning. "You'll never understand." Jasmine shook her head, muttering, "No, Kirk, you'll never understand what it's like to be second best." Emotions ran high as Kirk slammed his phone down, knowing the walls of his double life had finally collapsed. Social media lit up like wildfire. One fan tweeted, "Rasheeda's strength just ended this saga." Another posted, "Kirk looks like a man who lost everything." Hashtags like Rasheeda rises and Jasmine exposed dominated timelines. The noise was deafening. Atlanta was buzzing with anticipation of what would come next. Fans speculated about divorce filings, custody battles, public confrontations. The family was left divided, but the world had chosen its queen, and her name was Rasheeda. Kirk and Jasmine's secret vacation, meant to be an escape, had instead become the spark for a storm that would haunt them long after the palm trees faded from memory. Kirk drove through the streets of Atlanta. With Jasmine sitting beside him, the tension in the car thick enough to cut. Jasmine scrolled through her phone, watching clips of Rasheeda's interview trending worldwide. Every headline screamed betrayal. Every comment praised Rasheeda's strength. Jasmine smirked and muttered she finally learned to play the game. Kirk gripped the wheel tighter, his voice sharp. "This isn't a game, Jasmine." His words hung heavy between them because for Kirk, it was never just about scandal, it was about a marriage he had shattered and a family he had broken. Fans are shocked by how hollow Kirk looked, as if the weight of his own actions had finally crushed him. Emotions ran high as insiders said he hadn't eaten, slept, or spoken much since the interview dropped. Back at Rasheeda's home, her kids watched the interview replay on television. One of them turned to her with tears in their eyes and whispered, "Mama, you did it, you told the truth." Rasheeda pulled them close, her voice breaking. "I had to baby for us, for our future." The family was left divided, but in that moment a new unity was born inside her home. The power she once thought she lost returned with every heartbeat as fans online called her the phoenix rising from the ashes. Atlanta was buzzing, not with pity but with admiration for the woman who had turned pain into fire. Paparazzi caught Kirk and Jasmine entering his car lot later that evening, flashes illuminating their strained faces. Reporters shouted questions. "Kirk, are you getting divorced?" "Jasmine, are you the reason Kirk's empire is falling?" Jasmine rolled her eyes, but Kirk looked down, unable to face the storm head-on. The image of his silence went viral, fans tweeting captions like "Guilt looks heavy on him, and he knows." Rasheeda won this battle. The scandal only deepened as more insiders leaked details, claiming Rasheeda had already instructed her team to freeze joint accounts and secure her assets. Emotions ran high because this wasn't just heartbreak anymore. This was war, and Rasheeda was winning. Inside the car lot office, Kirk finally broke his silence. He slammed his fist on the desk and shouted, "I've lost everything." Jasmine flinched before firing back, "No, you didn't lose it. You threw it away." Kirk's face twisted with regret as he muttered, "Maybe you're right." Fans are shocked to hear about their fiery exchange because it revealed cracks too deep to repair between Kirk and Jasmine. The very vacation meant to unite them had exposed the fragility of their connection. Jasmine stormed out of the office, her heels echoing across the pavement as cameras captured every step. Meanwhile, Rasheeda prepared for her next move. Producers begged her to film a follow-up interview, capitalizing on the wave of public support, but she told them calmly, "I'm not chasing headlines, I'm telling my truth still." Her team knew that whatever words she spoke next would shake the culture again. Atlanta was buzzing with whispers of Rasheeda's potential book deal, endorsements, and even spin-offs centered around her story. The family was left divided, but the world leaned closer, ready for her every word, every step, every decision. Kirk sat alone later that night, scrolling through old photos of him and Rasheeda, their wedding, their kids, their family vacations. His shoulders shook as he whispered, "I broke the only thing that ever mattered." Jasmine's name never passed his lips. Only Rasheeda's fans are shocked because Kirk rarely showed raw emotion yet. Insiders claimed he wept openly, regretting everything. Emotions ran high as the man once known for his swagger now looked like nothing more than a shadow of himself. The scandal that began with a secret trip had grown into a saga that stripped Kirk bare and revealed Rasheeda as the true powerhouse at the center of it all, and Atlanta watched closely, waiting for the next move in a drama that felt far from over. The morning after Kirk's breakdown, the city of Atlanta buzzed louder than ever. Radio stations dissected every second of Rasheeda's interview. Callers poured in saying things like she deserves so much better, and Kirk finally showed his true colors. The scandal wasn't just TV fodder anymore, it had become the heartbeat of the city. From salons to barbershops, from coffee shops to clubs, everyone had an opinion and everyone chose a side. The family was left divided, but the streets belonged to Rasheeda team. Rasheeda shirts began popping up in boutiques. Fans rallied outside her store chanting her name. Paparazzi captured her waving briefly. Her smile, small but steady. Emotions ran high as she realized the love pouring in was no longer just sympathy, it was power. Kirk, on the other hand, looked defeated. He drove aimlessly around the city, unable to face his family. Insiders revealed he parked outside his own home for hours, staring at the front door but never going in. Instead, he muttered to himself, What if she doesn't let me back this time? Jasmine called. His phone repeatedly demanding answers. Where do we stand, Kirk? Where does this leave us? Kirk ignored her texts, his silence a sharp contrast to the reckless man caught partying on the beach. Days earlier, fans are shocked by how quickly the tables turned. Atlanta was buzzing with whispers that Kirk had lost both women in one scandal. Emotions ran high, as insiders said Kirk looked older, weaker, broken by the weight of choices he couldn't undo. Rasheeda's friends urged her to capitalize on the moment. One suggested, "Girl, you should go live right now. The world will eat it up." Rasheeda shook her head. "No, I don't need to perform for them anymore. This is my life, not their entertainment." Her words spread quietly through her circle, showing that she was not just surviving the scandal, but redefining it on her own terms. Still, producers circled like vultures, desperate to get her to film the next explosive chapter. Rumors spread that networks were already drafting offers for Rasheeda spin-offs. Atlanta couldn't stop talking because the queen had finally claimed her crown. Jasmine, meanwhile, faced her own storm. Fans flooded her socials with hate, calling her a homewrecker, a villain, a destroyer of families. She tried to clap back, posting a cryptic story that read, "Don't hate me for being chosen," but the backlash was swift. One fan replied, "Chosen today, forgotten tomorrow." Others mocked her with memes, comparing her to a temporary vacation. Her confidence began to crack. Insiders claimed she sat in her apartment, crying, whispering, "He promised me everything but gave me nothing." Emotions ran high as Jasmine realized that in the game she thought she won, she was now the one left alone carrying the blame. Kirk finally gathered the courage to walk into his house. Late one night, Rasheeda sat on the couch, calm, collected, her arms crossed, the silence between them unbearable. Kirk's voice trembled. "Rasheeda, please let me explain." Rasheeda's eyes burned into his as she whispered, "Explain what, Kirk?" "That you humiliated me again, that you chose her again." Kirk's lips parted, but no words came. His silence told the truth louder than anything he could say. Fans are shocked as insiders revealed Rasheeda stood up and simply said, "I don't need your explanation anymore, you can go." Emotions ran high as Kirk's shoulders slumped. The man who once carried an empire, now reduced to begging in his own home. The family was left divided, but this time it wasn't Rasheeda holding it together, it was Rasheeda letting it fall apart. The internet exploded with the leaked details. One fan posted, "Rasheeda finally told him to leave." Another added, "This is the closure we've all been waiting for." Hashtags like Queen Energy and No More Frost trended for days. Atlanta was buzzing with pride in Rasheeda's strength. Kirk left the house that night with nothing but his keys, his phone, and the weight of knowing the paradise he sought had destroyed everything that once defined him. Jasmine waited for his call, but it never came because Kirk realized too late that the only woman who ever truly had his back was the one he had betrayed over and over, and now she was gone. Kirk checked into a small hotel on the outskirts of Atlanta that night. The once confident man who flaunted designer clothes and flashy cars walked through the lobby with his hood pulled low and his head down. Insiders said he barely spoke to the staff, only muttered, "Name Kirk Frost," before taking his keycard. Fans are shocked because the same man who built an empire now looked like a stranger in his own city. Emotions ran high as reports spread that Kirk had been spotted alone, carrying nothing but a small duffel bag. His empire shattered, his home gone, his family divided. Rasheeda, on the other hand, moved with newfound clarity. Her boutique flourished as fans swarmed to support her. One insider said sales doubled overnight. People wanted to wear her strength, they wanted to carry her resilience like armor. Rasheeda smiled to herself as she rang up purchases, hugged fans, and whispered, "Thank you." Her voice steady for the first time in weeks. She wasn't crying, she wasn't breaking, she was rising. Atlanta was buzzing with pride. Whispers of Rasheeda stepping into her own spotlight grew louder. Offers poured in from brands, talk shows, and even book publishers. Insiders said one proposal titled "Standing Strong" sat on her desk waiting for her signature. Meanwhile, Jasmine's world was collapsing around her. She tried to call Kirk repeatedly, but he ignored her. Her frustration boiled over late one night when she posted a live video, tears streaking down her face, saying, "I didn't ruin anything, he came to me. I didn't force him." Fans are shocked by her sudden vulnerability, but the reaction was ruthless. Comments flooded the screen. "You knew he was married, you destroyed a family." Emotions ran high as Jasmine ended the live, abruptly slamming her phone down. The backlash left her more isolated than ever. The woman who once thought she had won Kirk's heart now realized she was the villain in everyone else's story. Kirk sat in his hotel room, scrolling through his phone, watching clips of Rasheeda laughing with fans at her boutique. Tears welled in his eyes as he whispered, "She's stronger without me." The truth hit him like a tidal wave. He had gambled everything for a vacation fling and lost it all. His voice cracked as he muttered, "I broke The only woman who ever loved me for real. Insiders claimed he even called one of his closest friends late at night, saying, "I don't know how to fix this," the friend replied. Bluntly, maybe you can't. Fans are shocked to hear such words because Kirk had always been the one who thought he could talk his way out of anything. Emotions ran high as reality finally hit him harder than the scandal ever did. Rasheeda's children noticed the change to one evening her daughter hugged. Word emotions ran high as she concluded, "I'm not bitter, I'm better." Kirk watched the interview from his hotel, tears streaming down his face. He whispered over and over, "I'm sorry," though no one was there to hear it. He dialed his son's number, but it went to voicemail. He muttered, "Please call me back, son. I miss you." His hands shook as he dropped the phone beside him. The sad man who once controlled every deal, every dollar, now couldn't even reach his own child. Fans are shocked as insiders revealed Kirk had begun talking about leaving Atlanta altogether, running from the shame that followed him everywhere. Jasmine, on the other hand, tried one last desperate move. She appeared on her own livestream crying into the camera, saying, "I love him, I still love him, but he's breaking me." The fans were ruthless, the comments brutal. "You knew what you were doing." Another wrote, "This isn't love. This is destruction." Emotions ran high as Jasmine sobbed on screen, begging the world to see her as human, but the backlash drowned her out. The family was left divided, and Jasmine stood alone, bearing the weight of choices she couldn't undo. Rasheeda's boutique became a symbol of victory. Women lined up outside to support her. One fan shouted, "You're an inspiration, sis." She smiled humbly, replying, "Thank you, I'm just living my truth." Atlanta was buzzing with pride in her resilience, and the shift was undeniable. She wasn't just surviving the scandal, she was thriving through it, building a new empire on her own terms. Fans are shocked by how gracefully she turned pain into power. Emotions ran high as they crowned her the queen, not of gossip, not of scandal, but of strength. Meanwhile, Kirk wandered the city late at night. Insiders spotted him sitting on a park bench alone, his head in his hands, muttering, "I had it all. I had her. I lost everything." A passerby recognized him and recorded the moment. The clip went viral, instantly captioned, "This is what regret looks like." Fans debated whether to pity him or mock him. Emotions ran high as the man who once symbolized power now symbolized loss. The family was left divided, but Kirk's loneliness became the lasting image. Rasheeda's children thrived under her strength. Her oldest said in a rare clip, "Mom, I'm proud of you." Fans are shocked as the moment spread across the internet. Emotions ran high seeing her family heal while Kirk's crumbled. Atlanta was buzzing with admiration for her resilience and her ability to turn betrayal into a platform of empowerment. She had transformed the narrative forever. As weeks passed, Kirk faded more from the spotlight. Rumors swirled he was leaving the city altogether. Jasmine disappeared from socials, deleting every post connected to him. Rasheeda, however, shined brighter than ever, her boutique expanding, new deals inked her smile. No longer hiding pain but reflecting victory. The family was left divided, but the world knew the truth. Kirk and Jasmine's secret vacation, meant to be an escape, became the scandal that destroyed them while raising Rasheeda to the throne. She always deserved. Emotions ran high. Fans are shocked, and Atlanta will never forget the day paradise turned into punishment for Kirk Frost. Under the weight of the scandal, Kirk Frost's name became more of a warning than a legacy. Atlanta had grown used to his antics, but never had they seen him fall so low. He wandered from hotel to hotel, avoiding the same streets he once ruled. Whispers followed him everywhere. Bartenders leaned in and said, "Isn't that the Frost guy who cheated again?" Waitresses rolled their eyes when he tipped small and said he used to brag about owning the city. Fans are shocked because the man who once stood untouchable now looked like he had aged 10 years in a month. Emotions ran high as insiders revealed Kirk barely answered calls, even from old friends. The family was left divided, and Kirk no longer had the armor of denial to protect him. Rasheeda, meanwhile, glowed brighter. Her boutique expanded into a second location downtown. The grand opening flooded with fans holding signs, "Team Rasheeda." One supporter shouted, "You're an inspiration," and Rasheeda's smile lit up the cameras. She waved, hugging people as if they were family. Atlanta was buzzing with energy. Producers circled like sharks, ready to offer her her own spin-off show. Insiders said she was already in talks for a docuseries tentatively titled Rising with Rasheeda. Emotions ran high as fans chanted her name in the streets, while Kirk hid in shadows. Jasmine tried to reclaim her footing. She arranged a photo shoot, hoping to rebrand herself as a misunderstood survivor, dressed in flowing gowns, posing in luxury cars. She posted captions like, "Never apologize for choosing yourself," but fans were unforgiving. The comments, "Savage sis, you didn't choose yourself, you chose someone else's husband." Another wrote the cars aren't yours, and neither was he emotions, ran high. As Jasmine realized every attempt to reinvent herself backfired, the family was left divided, and Jasmine became the face of a lesson Atlanta refused to forget. One night Kirk finally showed up unannounced at Rasheeda's home. He stood on the porch knocking softly. Rasheeda opened the door, her children behind her, her voice low but firm. "What do you want?" Kirk's eyes glistened with tears. "I just want to talk." She shook her head. "There's nothing left to say." Kirk whispered, "Please, we've built everything together, we can fix this." Rasheeda's jaw tightened as she replied, "You built lies, I built truth, and I'm keeping mine." Fans are shocked as insiders claimed Kirk broke down crying on her doorstep. Neighbors gathered filming the scene, Atlanta buzzing as the video went viral, captioned "The King begging the Queen." Emotions ran high because it was no longer just drama, it was raw collapse. After that moment, Kirk retreated further. He spent nights alone in dim hotel bars sipping slowly while televisions replayed Rasheeda's interviews, her new ventures, her glowing face, each reminder stabbing him deeper. Insiders said he muttered to bartenders that he had lost the only person who mattered. Fans are shocked at his vulnerability, because Kirk rarely let his guard down, but emotions ran high, as even strangers pitied him. The family was left divided, but Rasheeda's side grew stronger while Kirk's side faded into silence. Rasheeda sat with producers discussing her future. They pitched her books, clothing lines, talk shows. She listened calmly, sipping tea, then said, "I don't need a circus, I just want to tell my truth." Her quiet power left the room stunned. Atlanta was buzzing with respect for her grace. Fans are shocked by her refusal to exploit the moment, yet drawn to her authenticity. Emotions ran high as support surged. She had become more than a reality star, she had become a symbol. Jasmine meanwhile spiraled. She posted cryptic tweets like "I was the villain" in their story, but the truth is deeper. Fans screenshot and mocked them. One replied, "Deeper than a beach vacation." Another wrote, "Deeper than the betrayal." Emotions ran high as Jasmine deleted posts hours after uploading them. Insiders whispered she felt isolated, abandoned. Even Kirk no longer answered her calls. Atlanta turned its back on her. The family was left divided, and Jasmine became the outsider in a story that no longer needed her. Kirk made one final attempt to reconcile. He arranged a meeting with Rasheeda at a quiet cafe. Cameras caught him arriving early, pacing nervously. Rasheeda walked in stunning, poised her head high. Kirk reached for her hand, but she pulled it back. His voice cracked, "I've lost everything without you." Rasheeda's reply was sharp, "You didn't lose me, Kirk. You threw me away, and I'm not picking up your pieces." Fans are shocked as witnesses reported Kirk crying openly in public. Emotions ran high as Rasheeda stood up, leaving him sitting alone, his tears staining the tablecloth. Atlanta was buzzing with admiration for her strength. The family was left divided, but her decision was final. In the weeks that followed, Rasheeda soared. Her boutique thriving, new ventures announced her face, gracing magazine covers, headlines. Reading betrayal to boss. Fans rallied with hashtags "Long live Kirk and Rasheeda." Her children smiling beside her, her mother proud at her side. Emotions ran high because she had turned pain into empire. Atlanta celebrated her resilience as the true story, not Kirk's downfall, not Jasmine's shame, but Rasheeda's rise. Kirk faded into obscurity, spotted rarely wandering parks or slipping into late-night diners. One insider said he muttered to himself over and over, "I had her, I lost her." Fans are shocked as his image shifted from villain to tragic figure. Emotions ran high, but sympathy was scarce. The family was left divided, and Kirk's chapter seemed closed. Jasmine disappeared from the spotlight altogether, deleting socials, canceling appearances, her name whispered only in gossip blogs as a warning. Emotions ran high as the once bold woman who flaunted her connection now hid from the backlash. Atlanta moved on, leaving her behind. Rasheeda stood taller than ever, her empire rebuilt, her voice louder, her dignity intact. She had not only survived betrayal, she had conquered it. Fans are shocked at her transformation, but inspired too. Emotions ran high as her story spread beyond Atlanta. Magazines across the country dubbing her the queen who rose from ashes. The family was left divided, but her victory was undeniable, and so the vacation Kirk and Jasmine thought would be their escape became their downfall, a trip that turned palm trees into prison, bars and sunsets into reminders of betrayal. Atlanta will never forget how paradise destroyed them but crowned Rasheeda as the queen, stronger, fiercer, and freer than ever before. The court filings hit Atlanta like a thunderclap. Tabloids screamed headlines, divorce papers filed, Rasheeda Frost takes Kirk to court. Fans are shocked because after years of standing By him, Rasheeda had finally made it official. Emotions ran high as reporters swarmed the courthouse trying to catch a glimpse of her walking in dignified head held high, dressed in sharp black while Kirk stumbled in late, his hoodie pulled low. The family was left divided as children, friends, and even business partners were forced to pick sides. Atlanta buzzed louder than ever, with whispers of how messy this battle could get. Inside the courtroom, the tension was thick. Kirk sat hunched beside his lawyer, his eyes darting nervously while Rasheeda remained calm, her hands folded. Her lawyer, whispering strategy of witnesses later revealed that Kirk tried to catch her eye mouthing the words, "I'm sorry," but Rasheeda never looked his way, her focus unshaken. The judge read out the filings. Property division, child support, spousal support. Fans are shocked because for the first time Kirk's empire was on paper. Every asset, every dollar, every secret investment. Emotions ran high as reporters scribbled notes. Atlanta was buzzing with the possibility that Kirk might lose everything. Rasheeda's lawyer argued fiercely, saying she built the brand, she carried the marriage, she raised the children, while Kirk destroyed it with betrayal. Jasmine's name came up again and again, whispered through the courtroom like a curse. Kirk's lawyer tried to argue for leniency, but Kirk himself slumped lower each time. Rasheeda's lawyer reminded the judge of his public scandals, the videos, the vacation, the humiliation. Fans are shocked as the transcripts leaked online exposing the raw details. The family was left divided, but the world saw Rasheeda as the wronged queen, demanding justice. Jasmine sat at home watching the news unfold, her face pale. Insiders claim she whispered to a friend, "This is all my fault." Her phone buzzed with calls from gossip blogs, begging for interviews, but she refused, saying, "I can't handle more hate." Emotions ran high as she realized the empire she once wanted to be part of was now being ripped apart in public. Atlanta had turned cold toward her. Fans mocked her online, calling her invisible. Now that Kirk's empire was crumbling, the family was left divided, and Jasmine was left behind. As the court case dragged on, Kirk began selling off properties, cars, even jewelry. Fans are shocked to hear insiders say he liquidated secret accounts just to keep up with legal fees. The man who once bragged about wealth now whispered about debts. Emotions ran high as friends turned their backs, no longer willing to support him. Atlanta buzzed with rumors that he was borrowing money just to survive. The family was left divided, and Kirk's downfall became entertainment for a city that once cheered him. Rasheeda meanwhile flourished. Her boutique numbers skyrocketed, endorsements rolled in. She launched a new clothing line named Phoenix, and fans lined up for hours to buy it. Hashtags like Queen Rises and Phoenix Energy trended worldwide. Emotions ran high because she had turned betrayal into empire. Atlanta buzzed with pride watching her success. She walked through her store smiling, telling customers, "Thank you for believing in me." The family was left divided, but her side was thriving. The courtroom battles grew uglier. Kirk accused Rasheeda of cutting him off from their children. Rasheeda calmly replied, "I never cut you off, you abandoned them." Fans are shocked as transcripts revealed Kirk crying in court, saying, "I miss my kids." Emotions ran high as Rasheeda's lawyer countered, "He should have thought of them before boarding that plane." Atlanta buzzed as the soundbites spread across every blog, every radio show, every podcast. The family was left divided, and Kirk's shame was complete. Jasmine resurfaced briefly, granting one quiet interview. Her eyes red, she whispered, "I never wanted to ruin anything. I just wanted love." Fans are shocked by her sudden humility, but most remained unmoved. The comments flooded with words like "too late sis" and "love doesn't break." Families' emotions ran high as the world turned away from her story. Atlanta no longer cared what she said. The family was left divided, but Jasmine faded further into the shadows. Back in court, the judge finally delivered rulings Kirk would lose significant property, child support, locked-in spousal support added on. Fans are shocked as insiders revealed Kirk nearly fainted hearing the numbers. Emotions ran high as he muttered, "I can't do this." Rasheeda stood tall, her lawyer's hand on her shoulder. The family was left divided, but Rasheeda had won, not just morally but legally. Atlanta buzzed with cheers from her supporters, while Kirk walked out broken. The weeks after the ruling showed the stark contrast, Rasheeda launched her new reality series filmed on her terms, showing her rebuilding her empire, her children smiling, her friends cheering. Fans are shocked at the glow in her face. Emotions ran high as viewers tuned in, making the premiere the highest-rated episode of the year. Atlanta celebrated her rise, calling her the new standard of resilience. The family was left divided, but Rasheeda had turned tragedy into triumph. Kirk, on the other hand, slipped deeper into obscurity. Insiders claimed he rented a small apartment far from the city center. No luxury, no cars, no entourage, just silence. He wandered the streets in old clothes, his once swaggering walk replaced with a slump. One fan spotted him muttering to himself, "I had it all, I lost it all." Fans are shocked at how far he had fallen. Emotions ran high, as photos of him, looking frail, trended with captions like "When betrayal cashes out." Atlanta buzzed with pity mixed with scorn. The family was left divided, and Kirk's legend became a cautionary tale. Jasmine deleted her socials, completely disappearing from the spotlight. Friends whispered she moved out of Atlanta, trying to start fresh in another city. Emotions ran high, but few cared anymore. Her story over her name. A ghost. Fans are shocked at how quickly she vanished from relevance. Atlanta moved on, leaving her behind. The family was left divided, but her chapter closed. Rasheeda, however, soared. Her boutique chain grew to 3 locations. She signed book deals, speaking tours, music collaborations. Her brand, Phoenix, became a movement. Women across the country wearing it, posting captions, "If Rasheeda can rise, so can I." Emotions ran high as her influence spread. Beyond Atlanta, she was no longer just a star, she was a symbol. Fans are shocked by her transformation, but inspired. Atlanta buzzed with admiration. The family was left divided, but Rasheeda was whole. As time passed, Kirk remained alone. His hotel nights turned into empty mornings. His name, a whisper of regret. He once said, "Freedom feels good now," he muttered. "Freedom feels lonely." Fans are shocked by the contrast. Emotions ran high as his downfall became the final note in a saga that began with palm trees and ended with isolation. Atlanta never forgot the scandal, the occasion that destroyed a man, broke a mistress, and crowned a queen. The family was left divided, but history wrote its ending. Rasheeda victorious, Kirk forgotten, Jasmine erased, and the world forever remembering the day paradise turned to punishment. And so here we are after everything that has unfolded. The secret vacation that Kirk Frost thought would be his escape became the trip that unraveled his entire world. What was meant to be hidden paradise turned into a public nightmare that destroyed his reputation, shattered his family, and exposed the cracks that had been there all along. Jasmine believed she was chosen, believed she was the one Kirk would finally stand beside, but what she ended with was silence, empty calls, unanswered promises that dissolved the moment the plane touched back in Atlanta. She became the villain in the eyes of the fans. The woman who laughed in palm trees while another woman cried at home, and though she tried to fight back, though she tried to speak her truth, the world turned its back on her. Her name faded, her voice muted, her story left incomplete. Rasheeda, on the other hand, rose from the ashes, stronger than anyone imagined. She had been humiliated in front of the world. She had carried the burden of lies and betrayal for years, but when she finally stood up, when she finally looked straight into the cameras and said enough, the world rallied behind her. Her boutique flourished, her brand Phoenix became a movement. Her children stood by her, proud of their mother's courage. Her fans crowned her the queen she always was. Her story, no longer defined by the man who betrayed her, but by the strength that lifted her above it all. She turned heartbreak into empire, pain into profit, silence into power. Emotions ran high across the city and beyond, because women everywhere saw themselves in her, saw their own strength reflected in her rise. She became more than a star, she became a symbol. And Kirk, what of Kirk Frost, the man who once walked through Atlanta with swagger, who once boasted of power, money, and women? What of the man who once thought he could play both sides of love and loyalty? Now he is a shadow, wandering streets alone, sitting in hotel bars with his head in his hands, muttering, "I had it all, I lost it all." The world no longer fears him, envies him, or even hates him. They pity him. His name, once shouted across clubs, is now whispered only as a warning, a reminder of how arrogance, betrayal, and lies always catch up eventually. Fans are shocked by the collapse, but not surprised. Emotions ran high as everyone saw karma in real time. The family was left divided, and Kirk's side was the losing one. His empire dismantled, his marriage gone, his mistress vanished, his crown stripped away. But even with all the answers we think we have, questions remain. Will Kirk ever find redemption? Will Jasmine ever tell her full side of the story? Will Rasheeda forgive in her heart even if she never takes him back? Or will she continue to rise, building a new chapter that leaves the Frost name behind forever? And what does it mean for the legacy of love and hip-hop? Atlanta, a show built on scandal but never on something this raw, this destructive, this final. The saga has ended one way, but the echoes of it will last forever, and this is where we turn to you watching right now, because this story isn't just about Kirk, Jasmine, and Rasheeda. It's about betrayal, it's about loyalty, it's about knowing your worth and choosing your peace. It's about watching someone throw everything away and seeing another rise, stronger than ever. So what do you think? Should Rasheeda ever give Kirk another chance, or is she better off never looking back, do you think? Jasmine deserves forgiveness, or did she make her choice the moment she boarded that plane with him? And what do you think of Kirk? Is he truly sorry, or is it just regret that he got caught? These questions don't end with me, they end with you, the fans, the viewers, the voices that have kept this saga alive. So if you've been shocked by this story, if you've felt the emotions, if you've screamed at your screen, then hit that like button right now, because your support is what keeps stories like this alive. If you believe Rasheeda is the true queen of this saga, then comment Team Rasheeda below. If you think Kirk can somehow redeem himself, say Team Kirk, and if you think Jasmine deserves her own chance to tell her truth, then comment Team Jasmine. Let's see who really holds the power in the eyes of the fans. Don't just watch this, be part of it. Your comment could be the one that sets the internet on fire again. And don't forget to subscribe, because this isn't the end. Scandals never truly end. They twist, they turn, they come back bigger than ever. There are more secrets, more betrayals, more confrontations waiting just around the corner, and you don't want to miss a single second. We will be here breaking it down, bringing you the truth, the rumors, the twists before anyone else. So hit that subscribe button right now and turn on your notifications so you're the first to know when the next bombshell drops. Share this video with your friends, because the conversations don't stop here. They continue in group chats, in comments, in living rooms, across the world. Who do you side with? Who do you blame? Who do you forgive? And who do you crown the queen? Share it so everyone can weigh in. And let the debate grow louder, because that's what keeps the fire burning, that's what keeps this story alive. And finally, let us know, do you believe Kirk and Jasmine's vacation was truly love or just lust? Do you believe Rasheeda has finally closed the door forever, or is there still a tiny chance of reconciliation? Do you believe Jasmine has disappeared for good, or will she resurface stronger than before? Tell us in the comments, because your voice matters, your opinion matters, and together we shape the ending of this saga. So once again, like, comment, subscribe, share, and keep watching, because if there's one thing Atlanta has taught us, it's that nothing stays secret forever. Paradise always comes with a price, and in the end, the truth always rises. Just like Rasheeda did from betrayal to queen, the family may be left divided, but you watching right now hold the final say in how this story will be remembered. Make your choice, Team Rasheeda, Team Kirk, or Team Jasmine. Drop it below and let the world know where you stand. And